let's go ahead and take a look at sketch number 13. This one has a bunch of photos. It has a 4x6 photo and then 6 2x2 photos. So this works really great for showcasing a whole bunch of photos from an event, something where you have a bunch of detail shots. This would be great for a wedding maybe. You could do a large photo of the bride and then you know how they always take those detail shots of like the dress and the rings, and that would be a good way to use this, I think. What I'm going to use it for today is I have some photos from a play that we went to. My sister-in-law is actually newly the drama teacher at the local junior high, and so we went to her first play that her and her students put on, which was Fiddler on the Roof. So I have a bunch of photos from that, and she asked me to take photos for her for the kids, and so I went and took photos of the program, which I don't need for any purpose, but I thought I would document her journey to becoming this teacher. And so that's what I'm going to use today. So I'm going to stick pretty closely to the sketch. I have a bunch of stuff pulled. I have a hard time using or scrapbooking photos. These are they're dark with bright colors. I think photos of performances are probably like this, which I don't do very often. So I pulled a bunch of things that I think will work, and we'll see how it goes. I've got a few things there and a bunch of random things that I'm going to try to pull them all together, but starting with a sketch makes at least I get to take one aspect of the design away. I don't have to worry about where my photos are going to go. And so it's really just the embellishing after that and choosing the papers. So let's go ahead and get started on this one.
So I'm going to start by choosing a paper for my background, and I thought for sure that I'd probably go with that white paper that has some different colored dots on it, but the paper I found from Maggie Holmes that has the pink that fades to wood grain is perfect for these photos. It matches my main photo so well, and I love the way that the pink in the background of the photo kind of fades into the background of that paper, and so I have to use that. And so I'm going to cut a strip of white to place across the top, and then I will get a striped paper. I thought I was going to choose yellow, but I end up going with a stripe to kind of separate the white from the wood grain paper, and then I'll put a strip of that at the bottom as well. So here I'm going to go and choose that striped paper now, and it's it's a craft color, so it kind of matches the wood grain, and I like that. And I always love a diagonal stripe for a border. So those are the papers that I end up choosing. And I am going to try mounting my photo on some white cardstock, giving it a white border. I love photos with a white border, but in this case, it ends up not working out, and you'll see why here in just a second. I'm just trimming that down, and you can see as I place it on my background how jarring that is. I think the reason it doesn't work is because the photo blends in so well with the background that when you place the white between it, I don't know, it's jarring. I don't like it, so I'm going to end up taking it off, which might be the first time I've ever done that before. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to make the white work by cutting a little white strip to stick underneath the photos. And I thought that would probably work, and it doesn't. You'll see here in just a second. But I'm going to go ahead and glue down the pieces that I know I'm going to use for sure, which is that striped border, which looks so amazing, and the white border at the top. So here I'm placing my photo back down, and I'm going to see if putting the white below the photos will help the white photo, but it won't. So I decided to take the white border on the photos away, and I'm just going to adhere the strip. I'm still going to keep the white strip on because it helps to tie in the stripe of white at the top. And I just used my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a fine line bottle to do that because it has a fine tip applicator. You just stick whatever kind of glue you like in that bottle. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my photos. So I'm starting at the left edge and then just lining my photos up and squishing them together across the layout. And I did arrange my photos so that there were that certain colors, all the same color wasn't next to each other, and I didn't want two really bright photos next to a darker one. I tried, but it's still a little bit, the lighter ones are a little bit on the right hand side, and that's okay. And there's a little excess I'll trim off in a minute. So the photo's I'm gonna move my photo to the right hand side, even though on the sketch it shows it on the left, just because of the placement of the subjects in my photo. And I've said this in other parts of this series of these sketches, that just make it work for whatever photos you have. And so because my photo subject matter was on the right and they're looking in, I didn't want them to be looking off the page, so I just moved the photo over. So now I'm working on some wax paper to figure out what I want my title to be. These are some super, super old thickers that are kind of like a vinyl finish. And I'm going to use these thickers for the words fiddler and roof. And I want to play around with these a lot before I decide what I want to do. So I thought maybe I would use these letter stickers for on the, but they are a little bit too large. I do like how they are a simple font in comparison to the words fiddler and roof, but they're just a little bit too big. So those aren't going to work for me. I was planning on painting them white, by the way. And so I'm looking through some of my other letter stickers to see what I can find. And then I remember that I have Ellie Studio little white letter stickers, and I'm going to try to use those for the words on and the. And I like the way those look. So I'm trying to see if I want black instead, but I think I just want it all white. And I like that I kept it white because it really stands out against the background, and it helps tie in the other white on the layout from the top. So I do go ahead and go with that. I'm just trimming off the excess of that photo there. And now I'm trying to decide exactly where I'm going to put my title. I'm going to fiddle around with this quite a lot, just because I'm not sure how I'm going to do the embellishment and things like that. And you can see that I nestled the words on the next to the F, the ascender in the F, and I always do that when I can. I love to make things fit in together like that. So I'm going to do a bit of a subtitle, and I'm going to do directed by Amelia Scow right below this using my Teresa Collins little tile alphabet stickers. And I did this because this was my sister-in-law recently was made the drama teacher at the local junior high, and this was the first play that she directed, and she built the set and all of this stuff. And so I wanted to document that. She asked me to come and take photos for the kids before the play, so I came to one of their rehearsals, and then we went to the play afterwards, and it was super fun. And so I got a bunch of great photos, and so I thought that would be a good place to showcase them and talk about how this was her first play, her first directed play. She'd been in many, but the first play she directed in this new job. Anyway, so now I'm going to kind of play around with some of the embellishments that I pulled out, and there were some things that from the Chamel collection that I thought might work. There was something that said shine. I don't end up using it, but I think it could have worked. There were these two little music notes, and I wanted to use those because Fiddler on the Roof is a musical, and I thought about using the different colored stars, but I end up using some chipboard stars from Heidi Swapp that are gold, and the video doesn't do them justice. They're really shiny and pretty, and I really like the way they end up looking on here. I'm layering up a few little tickets above the photos there. In the sketch, there is a cluster of embellishment above some of the photos, and so that's what I'm trying to work on. I'll end up moving those, but I will include some tickets on this layout. Looking through some of these long label stickers now, and I'm going to pull out 3 that I think might work. Hashtag got this. There's one that says dreaming, planning, doing, and I can't remember what the last one says, but I only end up using one of these. And it says good times. I end up using the one that says dreaming, planning, doing, because she dreamt up the set, she built it, had to do a lot of planning and practices and things like that, rehearsals rather. And so I thought that one worked perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and commit to the title now, and I'm placing it so that it's just to the left of the photo. I toyed with the idea of overlapping it onto the photo, but decide not to. And so I'm just going to place it below or to the side. So I'm going to get all these letter stickers placed down, and I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't matter to me if it's exactly perfect, but I just want it to be decently perfect. So for the word directed by, I'm putting this letter stickers right next to each other, but I am slightly moving them up and down from each other. So slightly varying the height, just so that it looks like it looks straight, but it doesn't look too straight, and that looks purposeful. And that ends up working out fine, except for I didn't quite do it centered, and so I'm going to move it all over just a little bit. And then after I do that, right below that is where I decide to place my little word sticker that says dreaming, planning, doing in black. And I like the black embellishments here because there's a lot of darkness in the photos. These are really, they're very colorful photos, but they are darker. They're not white and bright like the photos that I love so much, even though they're good photos. I thought about adding that little chipboard piece that says with brave wings she flies, but decided against it. It just didn't quite fit in with the design. I am going to end up using that little film reel thingy, the circular thing, as well as this little film strip at the top and bottom. And even though this wasn't a film, I still feel like it kind of can go with the theme. I'm making it work. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up both of those music notes on some thin foam squares. So just placing those foam squares on the other side. They are a little bit too big, and so I'm cutting some of them in half with my Teflon coated scissors. I love those things because sticky stuff does not stick to them. And I'm going to play around quite a bit with where I want to place these embellishments, just so that I fill in, like I don't have any awkward spaces or anything. I'm looking for some more stars that I can use, and I found a couple in different sizes, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of scatter them across the layout a little bit. So I'll put the large one down at the bottom, and I wanted to draw attention to that photo of my sister-in-law. She looks like she's in charge, and she totally is, and so I wanted to draw the attention there. And then I'll put these other ones kind of around the title, and I'm going to decide where I want to place that little circular, I don't know why I don't know what that thing is called, but it's like you stick it, Viewmaster, one of those. And I'm going to end up cutting it in half and using the other half in another place on the layout. And you'll see that here in just a second. So I'm just placing down my little music notes there. And now I have looked through some of my products through my stash to just see what else I might want to add. You can see that I added the other half of the film strip down at the bottom, and I added the other part of the Viewmaster reel at the bottom as well. And now I'm playing with some tickets to see if there's somewhere I can add those. And you'll see that I added the Once Upon a Time chipboard piece above the title, and I like the way that looks. So I'm playing with these tickets now, and I'm playing around with the idea of placing them at the top. I thought about placing them down at the bottom with that big star and the Viewmaster slide thing, and just nothing's quite working to me. It's not quite looking right, and the color isn't balanced quite right. So I'm going to go to my trusty little word stickers to save the day, and I'm going to use a few of these down at the bottom. One says creativity takes courage. The next says you are capable of becoming more than you realize, and then I put make it happen on the top, and those worked perfectly for the subject matter. I'm going to kind of play around with the tickets some more at the top. I like the idea of using the blue one. It has like a dark blackish gray blue color to it, and it matches the photos at the bottom kind of, and so I like the idea of using that one. And then there's one that has kind of a purpley pink tone, and so even though those aren't as bright as the photos, I think they still work with it. And I decided against using the yellow, even though I thought yellow would be a nice addition to this layout. I didn't want to bring in another color, I decided. So I'm going to use some of these word stickers at the top as well. And I'm going to use one that says the journey is the destination, and one that says be awesome today. And I like the way that fills the space up there. So now I've kind of mirrored what I did on the bottom, because we've got the film strip and some word stickers on both the top and bottom. So I'm going to look at these stickers some more, And I'm looking at these Chamel stickers, trying to decide if I want to add any of them, and I decide against it. And then I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I want, what's going to be the finishing touch here. And I decided I needed a little bit more blue. And so I pulled out my enamel dots, and I'm going to put a couple in the bottom, a couple at the top, and that kind of balances the Once Upon a Time chipboard word in above the title. So I like the way that looks. And there's a lot of blue in the bottom photos as well. So I kind of feel like now I have a good even balance of blue around the layout. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down these chipboard pieces. And somehow I lost one of the chipboard pieces. So I'm going to replace a couple of the stars with these glittery stars. And I wanted to place one at the top as well. And so I did that. And I think that works just as well. You may notice that green ticket I pulled out, that's from the actual play. I don't end up using it, but I glue it to the back, and I finish this off with a little bit of Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine paint splatters, and I love it.
Okay, so here we have a look at the final layout versus the original sketch. Again, because of my photo, I switched the placement of it. I kept everything else the same. I just kind of mirrored the image. So I used white cardstock at the top, and then these two pieces ended up being the same just so I could get some continuity. I made this one a little bit thicker than this one, and I like the way that looks. And then for the butterfly placement, which is just, you know, an indication of embellishment, I kind of used the stars as that embellishment, and took it here, here, and here, just like it is on the, it's pretty much like it is on here, but I just added more. So this is like a starting point, and then if your design lends itself to adding more, then feel free to add more or add less, whatever feels right to you. I could have definitely added less here. This is a lot on the page, but you know, you can stop wherever you feel comfortable. And then I ended up adding just a bit here at the top and the bottom, just because I wanted to use the film strip, and that seemed like a good place to do it. And so that is additional, but I think that this design would still work without any of that, and just using the embellishment here in the center that kind of draws your eyes from the photos and around to this larger photo in the title and journaling. So I hope that you have enjoyed the sketch. Be sure to check out Tracy's take on this one in the classroom, and we will see you in sketch 14.